Okay, hello and welcome to the Man Cave. This is Andy J's top 10 instrumental guitar albums. Okay, so just to explain, this is just a personal choice. Obviously, some of you out there might have other guitar albums that you rate above these ones. That's alright. It's just my personal choice. These are the ones that really had a big impact on me. So I'm just going to go through them. First up, we have Joey Tafola, Out of the Sun. Fantastic. I can remember the first day I got this. I actually went down to my pal's house, played the first song. I said to him, "Is it alright if I put my new CD on it?" And I just stuck it on. First song came on. Funnily enough, it's called Eternity's End. Some Bastyon fans will be familiar with that title. But there we go. And I can just remember the guy he went through. I don't know where he went to the toilet. He come running through halfway through the tune and said, "Oh my God, that's outstanding!" like this. And it was absolutely fantastic. The first two tracks on this, honestly, mind blowing. Eternity's End, Out of the Sun. Have a listen. If you've never heard this album, Joey Tafola, Out of the Sun, absolutely brilliant. I think it came out in '87. Really, really good. Highly recommended. All right, so there we go. That's number 10. Number 9, Greg Howe, his first solo album. Self-titled, obviously. A little bit different, this album. You know, a lot of the guitar albums coming out at the time were very neoclassical influenced, very Malmsteen influenced. This was totally different. A lot of blues, a lot of funk, lots of metal as well, rock metal, but a really good mix. You know, the songs are fucking just awesome. You know, there's a tune on here called Red Handed, the opening riff, just incredible, absolutely incredible. You have to really hear this album to appreciate it. You know, Kick It All Over, Bad Racket. You know, just have a listen to it. It's very different from the rest of the sort of shrapnel stuff that was coming out at the time, but really, really good. And I tell you what about Greg Howe. Another recommendation for this guy, if you've never seen his actual teaching video, I think it's an REH teaching video. The first 5 minutes of that video is the most outstanding solo performance on any teaching video I've ever seen. It blows everything else out of the water. Brilliant. The tapping, just incredible. Absolutely incredible. So, Greg Howe, there we go, number 9. So, number 8, Michael Lee Firkins. Okay, absolutely brilliant. Such a great player. I mean, again, different from the sort of shrapnel stuff that was coming out. This actually came out on Roadrunner. Brilliant though. I mean, there's a couple of tracks on here. Laughing Stacks was the opener. 24 Grand Avenue. I mean, the melody in that tune, I still play that as one of my sort of like party pieces now. Right? You know, just brilliant, absolutely brilliant player. Again, his teaching video was great. It shows you all the little tricks he does with the whammy bar and how to build things up, layer things. Very different. He's not like a speed merchant or anything like that, but he's just such a great player, and he can play fast. Trust me on that. You know, I think Jason Becker actually gets Michael Lee Firkins to play a lot of the stuff for him nowadays. You know, who obviously can't play the guitar, Jason Becker. So Michael Lee Firkins is one of his go-to guys, and understandably, because he's such a fantastic guitarist. Very vocal lines, you know, melodious. I can't recommend Michael Lee Firkins enough. I mean, even people who aren't like heavy metal fans or even rock fans would appreciate the talent that is Michael Lee Firkins. Absolutely outstanding. Highly recommended. Okay, on to number 7. Vinnie Moore, Mind's Eye. Absolute eye-opener for me. There's a song on here called Saved by a Miracle. The intro is like a classical come Spanish guitar thing. Wow. Absolute wow. I mean, you have to hear this. If you've never heard this, just get it. Listen to it. It is absolutely brilliant. Every song on this album is absolute killer. Every single one. And the thing about guitar albums is sometimes they're a bit heavy duty. You know, if you try and listen to the whole thing in one go, it's a bit much, you know. But Vinnie Moore, I can listen to this album all the way through, no problem. You know, never skip a beat on it because it is just a fantastic album. You know, everything about it, purely instrumental. Great guitarist, absolutely great guitarist. I had the pleasure of watching Vinnie Moore live in London many, many years ago, and he was absolutely incredible. I absolutely love Vinnie Moore. And to me, this is his magic moment, Mind's Eye. Can't say anything bad about this album. It is an absolute classic. Okay, there we go. Vinnie Moore. Right, my next choice, Marty Friedman, Scenes. Very, very different. Really not a shred album at all. It's very mellow, a lot of acoustic, very Eastern influenced, a lot of light songs on it. I wouldn't even class this as heavy metal in any way. I don't think it is. Very, very different. The opening tune, Tibet, just takes you away to another planet. It's all about, you know, conjuring up these images musically, right? An absolute master of the craft, Marty Friedman. I mean, everyone knows him as the Megadeth guitarist, right? But I honestly think this is his best work, right? Controversial, but there we go. Scenes, fantastic album. Just listen to it. It takes you away. It takes you into a different dimension completely. You know, it's one of those albums. It's got a special place. You know what I'm saying? Listen to that. So let's move on. What do we have here? Number 5. Tony McAlpine, Maximum Security. Right. If you are a shredder and you don't have this album, you're an idiot. And that's all I'm going to say, right? This is the album for shred guitar. There's a song on this called Hundreds of Thousands, the second track, right? And honestly, there's one of the licks on it. It sounds like he just runs out of frets. Right? You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. Absolute screamer of a track, right? And, you know, the songwriting's incredible. Tears of Sahara. Just brilliant. Purely instrumental album. Who needs vocals when something's this good? You know, it's just incredible. And there's actually a piano piece on here called Etude number 4, opus number 10, Chopin. Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Sometimes I just put this album on just to hear the piano track. And it's just like, my word, you're not just a guitarist, Tony. You are an absolute virtuoso of music. You know, just the guy's, he's in a class of his own, in my opinion. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Tony McAlpine. He might have the dodgiest haircut in the world, but he is absolutely fantastic. Love this guy. Love this album. Right, next up. Actually, Cacophony. It shouldn't really be in this list. It's not an instrumental album. It's mostly vocals. There's 2 instrumental tracks as far as I know on this album, right? Concerto and Speed Metal Symphony. I was actually going to put Jason Becker, Perpetual Burn on this list in this position, right? But to be perfectly honest, I couldn't actually find my copy of Perpetual Burn. It is somewhere. Don't ask me where it is. It'll be lying about somewhere, right? But anyway, I thought, you know what? I'm going to put this one on. But why? Because this was the first thing I ever heard by Jason Becker, right? This was out before Perpetual Burn. This was the first thing I ever got with Jason Becker on it. Also has Matty Freeman on it, obviously. But the tune, Concerto, my God, right? Blew me away. The first week I got this album, I reckon I must have played Concerto 100 times. 100, easy, right? Over and over again. I could not believe what I was hearing. You know, the passages in there, just the arpeggios, the harmony, how it all fits together. It's like an orchestra of heavy metal guitar. It's like if you could just imagine like the London Philharmonic Orchestra replaced by 50 clones of Jason Becker and Marty Friedman. That's what it's like. It's just, it's unbelievable. You have to hear this. And don't get me wrong, there's bits on this album, you know, it's like some of the songs, they're, you know, it's standard metal fare, the songs, let's be honest, but the instrumental passages, mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. I can't say enough good about Jason Becker. I absolutely love Jason Becker, you know. Just a shame what happened to him, you know, but this cements his position as one of the top men, in my opinion, you know, and Marty Friedman as well. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So, number 3. Steve Vai. Passion and Warfare. Right? This is an album of just constant joys. Right? Just from the opener, Liberty. I mean, come on. What an opener. That's one of the best openers I've ever heard to any album, never mind instrumental album. Liberty, incredible. I don't know if any of you remember the Expo 92 concert. It had like Brian May playing along, Liberty with Steve Vai. Come on. Absolutely amazing. And some of the tracks here, Erotic Nightmares. What a riff. The opening riff on that is just absolutely brilliant. The Animal, all the rest of it. And of course, For the Love of God, you know, the audience is listening track by track. It's just incredible. I mean, some of the stuff on it is like, you know, away in a different world, you know, Alien Water Kiss and all that. But, you know, there's moments on this album, you know, Sisters at the end of the album. Wow. Just absolutely wow. Just Steve Vai. I mean, this came out quite late, really, for guitar stuff, you know. I think it was 1990. You know, but Steve Vai had already cemented his reputation with all his Dave Lee Roth and all the rest of it. But this album was absolutely amazing. I remember I went on holiday the year this album came out, or the year after, right? And I just had, well, back in those days it was cassettes, you know, Walkmans. And I brought this. It was never out of my Walkman. Every single day on holiday, I was just walking around, listening to this, kicking around on holiday, right? I think it was the only thing I played, to be perfectly honest, because I was so into it. Just absolutely fantastic, this album. Everyone knows it. I mean, obviously, it's Steve Vai. But number 3 on my list, Passion and Warfare. Right, number 2, right? Almost number 1, right? The Neoclassical Bible, right? What can you say about this album? It's his finest work. Let's be honest. People go on about Trilogy, even Odyssey, right? But this is where it all began, in my opinion. You know, Shred King, he is the man, the top man. We all know he is. There's no debating. Malmsteen. Icarus Dream, the intro, the most beautiful thing I think I've ever heard, right? Absolutely takes me away every time I hear this original. Just incredible. You've got great tracks on here. Black Star, Evil Eye. Oh, I mean, it is. Anyone who doubts Malmsteen as a guitar player, I hear a lot of detractors. You can't doubt this, right? Maybe nowadays, because his albums aren't really, you know, what they were. Let's be honest, right? But this is just unbelievable. In my opinion, the finest neoclassical shred album there ever will be. It will never be topped. Ever, right? Malmsteen, debut album. And number 1, unsurprisingly, Joe Satriani, Surfing with Alien. Without a doubt the best guitar album ever made, right? You know, I can't be the only person that thinks that. You know, when this came out, I learned every single song on this album. And obviously some of the solos were a bit too much for me, but, you know, every main riff, every melody, and most of the solos, you know, I could pretty much do. You know, I still go back to this album all the time. You know, Midnight and all that, Circles, Echo, you know, Suffering with Alien, Ice 9, every single track. An absolute groundbreaker. You know, this was a big hit back in the day as well. This charted, you know, Satriani was a star. He was an absolute star. And it's no surprise because this album is just incredible. Absolutely incredible. I saw Satriani on the Flying on a Blue Dream tour at the Glasgow Barrowlands. And I'll tell you, he played the song Circles, which is on this album, right? Absolutely blew me away, right? I was just like in disbelief. I thought, I can't believe how good this guy actually is. I mean, he really is. He's the top man as far as I'm concerned overall for guitarists. There might be guys like Malmsteen who do the neoclassical thing better, you know. People like Greg Howe do the tapping thing better. But this guy, he is the top man. He is the king of instrumental guitar. And this album is number 1, without a doubt. So there's my top 10. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.